You've probably heard of the company TSMC.
Chip giant TSMC has reported.
TSMC.
Taiwan is protected by a silicon
One of the
shield.
next big bottleneck.
That stands for Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Sometimes it feels like the entire fate of Taiwan is in this one company.
We've always been concerned, and we've made America's interest very clear, our position on Taiwan because of chip manufacturing and other reasons there.
If the whole world depends on one company, TSMC, then why can't someone else build another one somewhere else? Experts say it'd be pretty hard. Hey, it's Emily Y. Wu, and this is The Breakdown, where we explore big global questions from Taiwan. For a Taiwanese person, TSMC is a familiar topic. It's on the news. It leads the stock market. Everyone knows someone who works in the industry. TSMC is 40 years old, and it makes 90% of the world's most advanced chips. They power our smartphones, supercomputers, anything that uses AI. That's why some say if something were to happen in Taiwan.
A deadly earthquake shook Taiwan on
Super
Wednesday
Typhoon
morning.
Krathon approaches from the southwest.
The world would have a problem. But if the world knows they're dependent for chips on one company, on one island, in a pretty complicated neighborhood, some wonder, why doesn't someone else start making them somewhere else? How hard would it be to actually replace TSMC?
If other countries just want to replicate Taiwan or TSMC, I think that is a mission impossible.
Let's break it down. First, we start with a little history. Bear with me. In the 1970s and 80s, the Taiwan government made a massive bet in an emerging industry, semiconductors. Engineers were sent to the US to learn the technology. Experts were brought in from abroad. Then, $10 million. That's the equivalent of $67 million in today's terms, were invested, all to build out this one industry. Impressive, right? Then came one man, Morris Chang from Texas Instruments. He was recruited to Taiwan to spearhead what was now a developing semiconductor industry.
But at that time, he found in Japan, the engineers, the efficiency is much higher than the site in United States. So he know Asian people are good at manufacturing.
Because compare the year rate, the US companies say if they can do like 80, 85%, Taiwanese always can do like 88, 90%. So slightly higher, their 1%, 2% more matter a lot.
So when he became a founder of TSMC, he decided TSMC was not going to design chips. It was not going to sell its own chips. It was going to make chips for other people.
He just manufactured for customers. So the product is belong to NVIDIA or Apple. 那个时候，最好的人才一定是想要自己做产品，没有人会想要去做代工。代工是帮人家做价，也不会觉得那是一个很体面的工作。
TSMC began doing jobs that others didn't want to do, and they got very good at it. So they got bigger and bigger customers, which meant more and more profit. They then reinvest that profit back into improving production, thus creating a positive feedback loop.
As the process technology advanced more and more, gradually less and less company can afford to build the next generation fab. The cost is not linear, it's exponential. So you need to have the guts.
Building a new facility can cost $20 billion for one plant.
$56 billion. That's how much TSMC is spending this year on fabs and R&D.
现在2026年，他已经在做2奈米，奈米已经是肉眼完全都看不到，他的工程师都在做未来3个世代的产品，他就已经把到2029年，这个每一个技术都已经跟他的客户讲说，我们都准备好了。
So if a company wanted to catch up with TSMC, they could invest an unthinkable amount into research and manufacturing and building high-tech fabs in hopes with competing with TSMC. But the thing is, TSMC has a 4-decade head start. So by the time a new company has caught up, TSMC would be even more decades into the lead. There's 2 more components to why our expert says it's mission impossible to try to replace TSMC. Component number 2, trust. You see, TSMC wasn't the only manufacturing house, but it was one that only made products for others.
We do not compete with our customers.
It didn't have its own branded designs, meaning it wasn't going to steal your technology.
Back then, there were other companies we call the IDM, short for the Integrated Device Manufacturing. Like IBM, like Motorola, like Intel, there's always a risk because these IDM, they have their own products. So if they help you manufacture your products and get your design and layout, will they steal something from that and put it into their own products to compete with you? That's always a question.
Neutrality became its superpower. In the paranoid world of technology, this was crucial to its dominance today.
Apple announced their iPhone in the year 2007. At that time, Samsung manufactured for Apple. In the year 2011, Samsung announced Galaxy as Steve Jobs. He saw a lot of similar design, so he just sued Samsung. The lawsuit continued for 7 years. When they have a lawsuit, Apple just decided to outsource semiconductor to TSMC.
If Apple sells more iPhones, TSMC wins. If NVIDIA sells more AI GPUs, TSMC wins. There's no incentive to steal. That's decades of trust. If the secret is TSMC itself, then what if TSMC just moved somewhere else, like out of Taiwan? Today, TSMC is the 6th biggest company in the world, and it makes up 13% of Taiwan's GDP. But it doesn't operate in a vacuum. It succeeds in Taiwan because of Taiwan. There is a tech ecosystem here that's been evolving for almost half a century. This is Hsinchu Science Park, 40 minutes outside of the capital, Taipei. It's smaller than Silicon Valley in the US, but here you have TSMC fabs, major suppliers, and 2 of Taiwan's top engineering schools.
From Taipei to Hsinchu, this 70-kilometer area, you basically can find out that in the 95 to 99% of the suppliers you need. So it's geographically very convenient. That's something that no other places in the world, even in Silicon Valley.
And TSMC is a great place to apply for a job. Everyone knows it's a good job, a serious job. But what is it really like to work there?
Yeah, I would say it's like working in hell. I think if I work in the fab, I could not sustain even one day. In the fab, especially the production part, you need to wear the bonding suit. It's a clean suit to avoid these particles. It would be even a big trouble to go to the toilet. I think working in the semiconductor fab is like working in the army because you need to follow orders. This kind of job, I think most graduates from this Ivy League or Stanford, MIT, I don't think they would love to work in a fab like this.
40 years on, TSMC is still doing jobs a lot of people don't want to do. But here's the thing, they take their jobs very seriously.
几次发生重大地震的灾害的时候，台积电的员工不用老板打电话，他就会回来。事实上，在好几次地震，那个 Google Map 就可以看到那个进去园区的那个路都是变红色的。他要怎么样赶快改善，然后赶快把订单能够这个及时的交付给他的客户。我想这个是台积电整个企业文化，他们就是这样做的。
So, a 4-decade head start, an unbeatable level of trust, and an ecosystem with talent, partners, and infrastructure. That's what keeps TSMC at the center of the global technology industry. TSMC has got the expertise, the experience, the trust, the people. But it's nothing without the brands, companies, and consumers around the world who depend on its chips. And that's why, for now, TSMC will continue to thrive.